What's up, Misfits? This is Long Island Josh, and I'm here with Lady Ash Rose.
Hey, Misfits.
And we're here to discuss tonight's WWE Smackdown that came from Fresno, California. Ash, what'd you think of tonight's show?
I was really into tonight's show. I thought it was pretty engaging throughout the whole thing. A lot of interesting things happened, and there was some good matchups, and I just really enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, for a 2-hour show, again, every week, I think it's better than Raw overall. Right now you're getting a lot of different acts because the WWE Superstar shakeup that they did. So tonight's SmackDown was a good show to me.
Yeah, so in the beginning of the show, let's talk about what happened with Jinder Mahal and his little photo shoot.
So SmackDown opened up and they had a previously earlier today, and Shane McMahon interrupted Jinder's personal photo shoot that he was having with his stolen WWE Championship. So Shane took the title belt because Jinder stole it. He doesn't own it. He shouldn't be doing what he's doing. And I like that because I didn't want Jinder to just keep carrying this championship that he stole. So they opened up with that, just establishing that, this is SmackDown, and here the GM, he flexes his muscle.
Yeah, I really liked that too because obviously him taking the belt, is not he didn't win it, so I liked that he took it away. But that whole
so in a more, yeah, it was a good beginning, but in a more proper intro to SmackDown, Shane McMahon, the GM of SmackDown, comes down and he introduces SmackDown's newest talent acquisition, Chris Jericho, because on WWE Payback, Chris Jericho defeated Kevin Owens to become the new United States champion, and because Kevin Owens was a SmackDown superstar, with Jericho, a Raw guy, winning, Jericho came over to SmackDown. So I like this because I've always been a huge Chris Jericho fan, and AJ Styles interrupts him. And this is really good because this plays off of when AJ first came into the company, him and Jericho as bad guys teamed up together. So I like when they do little continuity callbacks to this.
Yeah, which a lot of that stuff is somewhat lost on me because I'm somewhat new to wrestling, but I still enjoyed AJ coming in and interrupting the professional, introduction of Jericho.
See, both of these guys are faces, and I like how even though they're supposed to be good guys, they're still, alpha males. AJ wants to make sure, hey, Chris, you're back on SmackDown, but this is my show. So I like that. Just because AJ came out and, asserted himself doesn't make him a heel. It just means that he's a babyface that you should get behind because this guy will defend, his name, his spot on the card.
Yep, and speaking of defending their spot on the card, Kevin Owens comes out after AJ Styles, and he's like, no, I'm the face of America.
This, when I'm watching it, because again I'm thinking of the Superstar shakeup, this made me think I really like how SmackDown's top of the card starting to fill out. You got Chris Jericho, you got AJ Styles, and you got Kevin Owens. So I'm really happy for SmackDown to have this type of talent at the top. But again, I'm a huge AJ Styles fan, so what I liked is when Kevin Owens came out and he's talking his smack, AJ gets out of the ring and just runs after Kevin up the ramp, and they just start brawling, and I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny too, because I think Kevin Owens told him, get out of my ring or something, and AJ's like, nope, and just goes over and starts fighting with him.
So let's just talk about the main event of tonight's show. Chris Jericho defended his United States Championship against Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens won. He won his championship back, and it looks like he injured Chris Jericho. So what did you think of this?
I thought it was a really good match and interesting because I thought Jericho was going to win. I didn't think that they would give him the belt, just to take it away right after. And there was a couple times where he got Kevin Owens into the walls of Jericho, and I thought he was going to get Kevin Owens, but that freaking finger belt, or not belt, but he was grabbing
his injured finger.
Yeah, well, he was grabbing the thing on the ring. I'm having a brain fart. Josh, help me out here.
You talking about the ring rope?
Yes, the rope.
What a hard word.
It escaped me.
It's really nice that they have, over the past few matches, they've really developed this internal story about getting to the ropes. The ropes really mattered because Chris Jericho is a submission specialist, so it only makes sense.
Yeah, and he even focused on Kevin Owens' hand in the beginning of the match, trying to pin it between the steel stairs and slamming it on them, and that still didn't even pay off for him. So I thought it was a surprising match because I just didn't think Kevin Owens was going to win, but Kevin Owens got a little dirty and he got Jericho on the concrete outside the ring, and I think that's what did Jericho in.
They hit him with a DDT on the concrete, and it looks like storyline-wise, that's probably going to be the reason for most likely Chris Jericho is going to take some time off. Rumors were that Jericho had kept extending his original deal, but this is finally the end, and Jericho has his band Fozzy, which their tour date is online. So this is probably how Chris Jericho is going to get written off. It doesn't mean he won't be back next week, because I'd be interested to see if he did come back next week and say, listen, I'm not medically cleared, so I have to go away, or is this just how are they going to resolve this is going to be quite interesting over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too because when we did our review with Corey on Payback, Corey had even mentioned that he was surprised that Jericho won and what was going to happen because he thought he was going to take some time off, and this really does play into that. I think he's probably going to take that time off, and that's why Kevin Owens was able to win the title back.
So it looks, at least for SmackDown now, we're going to have the top of the card. We'll have United States champion Kevin Owens most likely continuing this feud that they had started with AJ about a week or two ago. So I'm looking forward to that. Those should be solid matches.
Yeah, they definitely should. The next match that I really want to talk about, I'm super excited about this one because there's so much drama behind this one, is the women's tag team match where Naomi and Charlotte were supposed to take on Natalya and Carmella. What did you think about that match?
Before the match happened, the welcoming committee, which I can't believe, after a week or two, I know the name so fast, and it's just funny that they built this women's stable so fast, and it's at least getting over with me. But they beat down Charlotte because Charlotte recently turned face, and they don't like her because she's better than all of them. So it only makes sense for the three of them to team up and beat her down. So when the match started, it looked like originally Naomi was going to take them on 2-on-1.
Yeah, she kind of went into the match a little handicapped, which she actually held her own for a little while pretty well, and I was cheering her on because I was like, dang, it's 2-on-1 and she's doing pretty well, but it catches up to you, and she couldn't really do so well against the two of them. So here comes Charlotte, still hurting from the beatdown from before the match, but now it's 2-on-2 again.
Yeah, my only complaint is I like when Charlotte came out, she was selling her injuries, but then she got the hot tag and just went right in as if she wasn't really hurt. I mean, when she had to slow down a little bit, she would sell it, but I was just like, it didn't take too much from me. It didn't take away too much, but I was just like, believability kind of counts. But the fact is, I like Charlotte as a face. She was hitting chops and everyone, the crowd's wooing, so the crowd likes it. And I didn't exactly see how, but Carmella got the win here, which was surprising. I thought that Charlotte would have, because she came out for the save, would have won the match too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the whole, heel and cheating type deal again. That's just comes back and back and back again, which is a little frustrating for me. I know that that's part of it, but Naomi was about to get Carmella, and Natalya's over there distracting the official, and so she's trying to get Carmella, and the official's not paying attention. And then that's when Carmella catches Naomi off guard. So that was kind of an interesting end to it because I wasn't expecting that. I know you weren't. But what do you think of Becky Lynch coming in at the end there?
So earlier in the show, the welcoming committee went to Becky and they basically invited her to join them against their crusade against Charlotte. And originally I thought there's no way Becky's going to join. So she comes down and she teases joining them. And for a second, especially when she was shaking everyone's hand. I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to go this way. That's interesting. But then Swerve, no, she's not turning bad. She's still a good guy. So even though she went up 3-on-1, she tried to take them out, the Welcoming Committee, but they had the numbers advantage.
Well, they had the numbers advantage from taking out Charlotte and Naomi before Becky even got there. So Becky was basically going into a 3-on-1, which she wasn't going to come out of that okay. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that she didn't join the Welcoming Committee. So it kind of seems like we might have a 3-on-3 tag team match in our future.
Yeah, this should be interesting because at least now you can mix up the women in different combinations. So you got to kill a few weeks until the next pay-per-view Backlash. So I don't think this will probably end at Backlash either. I hope this is kind of a long-term thing. If SmackDown introduces even more women, what I would like to see is Asuka get called up from NXT and just slowly destroy the Welcoming Committee and anyone else. But that's some fantasy booking that we can save for later.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of played out interestingly. Another match that came up this evening was the Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal. What did you think of that?
Going into this, I knew Jinder was going to win, and I knew he was going to win only because of the help of the Bollywood boys. And, I have nothing against Jinder Mahal being brought right into the main event like this. At least they're giving him a shot. Probably a lot of it has to do with his crazy physique. I know you and I spoke about that.
Yeah, can we just mention real quick to our viewers, if you didn't know, Jinder Mahal is 30 years old. Like, who thought he was that young?
If you would have told me he was 40, I would have believed you.
Yeah, I thought he had to be like 35 plus at least. Like, I in no way, shape, or form thought that he was 30. Like, he's a year older than I am, and I was just like, no way. Sami Zayn is older than he is.
And that's just one of the things that, like, people are going to criticize that Jinder's getting a shot because he was a jobber a few months ago, and now he's in the world championship scene. But the guy's young. Why not give him a chance? Give him a shot to see what he can do, because he's probably going to get that title. And at least he's got the Bollywood boys. He'll cheat like he did now, and he won't get any clean wins over your fan favorites. But this is at least a different character. It's new. It's going to freshen up SmackDown. And, unfortunately, Sami Zayn, he's definitely a better wrestler, but his role is to help make guys look good. And in this match, he made Jinder look good.
Yeah, and obviously, the ending of the match was kind of from the Bollywood boys, too, because they came in and one of them grabbed Sami Zayn's foot as he was getting ready to go after Jinder. And that kind of led to Jinder winning the match. But, it's funny because I don't like Jinder Mahal at all, but I do enjoy the show that's being put on with him right now. Like, the whole spiel with him and the bell and everything, and him wanting to make a name for himself. Like, as much as I don't like him, like, it is interesting to watch and it's entertaining.
Yeah, that's why also, there's a lot of hate around it, but it's not valid hate, really. WWE, sometimes they try new things, and sometimes they're hits, sometimes they're misses. But something that I think was a big hit, and this is going to be really stupid, is the Fashion Police video segment. I loved it, and I usually hate stuff like this, but I laughed the whole time. There's little jokes in it too, but Fandango and Tyler Breeze, they're finally pushing him as the Fashion Police, and they did this whole what's that show by Dick Wolf, that the famous Law and Order. They did a Law and Order gag. Yeah. So I can't wait. Weeks of this. I can't wait. And they're giving out Fandango, Deputy Dango. He's just like, he's bringing out like little things, and Fandango's trying to like turn anything into like an actual crime. So he was saying, like, I forget exactly what the word is, but then he said, oh, it's jaywalking and Jimmy walking, because they're Jay and Jimmy the Usos, like little dumb stuff like that. I laughed, and I can't wait for more like little skits like this. Hopefully every single week they'll do things like this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that as well. It was pretty funny. And I know you even said you don't typically like stuff like that, but that one really got you.
It might be my highlight, but I can't say it because it's not a match. It was a dumb like 2 minute skit at most, but I really liked it. And again, that's part of the good thing about this superstar shakeup. They're pushing new talent. They're giving some gimmicks that weren't fully flushed out. They're starting to flush them out now, and that's fun. Well, it's entertaining to see the show actually evolve.
Yeah. So we covered the bigger matches from this evening, but do you want to touch base real quick on what happened with Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, so Dolph Ziggler right now, he's basically building the whole feud with Shinsuke Nakamura. It was announced that at Backlash is going to be Shinsuke's SmackDown debut match. So they're not, I guess maybe next week they'll give us a promo of him, but right now Dolph is just jealous. He feels that why are we making all this hoopla over Shinsuke? Why aren't we giving that attention to Dolph? Because Dolph's a show off, and he in theory, goes out there every night trying to give the best performance he can. And tonight he took on Sin Cara. Sin Cara got a new costume. So, usually Sin Cara would, he only had the mask and he had the long pants, but now he's covering up his torso. I see he's a little flabby. That might be why, but either way, I like his new full body costume.
Yeah,
And
I saw Sin Cara pulling up his pants throughout the match several times, like just pulling it up over his midsection. I was like, oh, somebody's got a little spare tire going on.
So, I mean, Sin Cara, he's not a top guy, so I could see him maybe being like a little demotivated, putting on some weight, and they're like, you know what? Now you wear a full bodysuit, because WWE does treat the wrestlers like that sometimes. But it's still a good look for him, and Sin Cara's a solid worker. Him and Ziggler had a very good match for the time that they had. But, this is still a feud that with Ziggler doing all the work right now, because they want the debut of Nakamura to be special.
Right. Yeah, and Ziggler ends up winning that match with a super kick. But I felt like Sin Cara really did hold his own in that match. I enjoyed like the physicality of it, where he was like jumping off the ropes and stuff and doing different things. But yeah, they've got to build up to this match eventually with Nakamura.
I mean, Backlash, I'm excited just for Nakamura's debut. I mean, I saw him in New Japan, I saw him in NXT, but either way, I can't wait to see him finally come up to SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm excited. I keep saying, I want to see Nakamura.
And that's why this week I was a little disappointed that they didn't give him at all. That, again, that's why I'm saying the whole feud is just Ziggler doing the work. When you're a new fan, you're interested in Nakamura, and they're not really delivering right now on him.
Heck, I would have been happy with just like a little promo with him or something. Like if they'd have just had him come in and have words with Ziggler again, that would have just pacified me a little bit to get a little bit more of Nakamura. But, I guess they're just building up to Backlash, I guess, but it's still kind of frustrating.
So a new gimmick for you would have been Aiden English. What'd you think of this guy? This guy is the actor. He is the maestro. He sings. What'd you think of this?
He's really weird. I don't really know what to say about Aiden English. And the match was pretty, it wasn't crazy or anything. I think it was pretty short, to be honest, with Ty Dillinger. But yeah, he's a little strange. He's a little oddball. And then he was like crying after the match as well, because Dillinger did win.
Yeah, Aiden English, he's getting a new gimmick. A few months ago, he was a tag team in the Vaudevillains. They were throwback 1930s black and white carnival-style villains, but his partner got fired for starting fights backstage and losing. So everyone thought that they would probably make him go back to his old gimmick, which was this singing thing. Eventually, he'll probably evolve and he'll start throwing roses out like he did before. But it's fun sometimes in wrestling when you see this, that, okay, I had been watching this guy, Aiden English, develop in the development. Then they brought him up with a different character. Didn't work out, so he's going back to his old character, which was fine when he was doing it before. But they're adding, I guess, that now he cries a lot. So, and Vince McMahon's a big child, so he might be like, oh, let's just make him cry all the time. So I'm a little worried for him, but over the next few weeks, we'll see how Aiden English develops.
Yeah, that should be interesting, because the whole crying thing is a little weird.
But the main point here is that the Perfect 10 Ty Dillinger got over. they're going to be building to him. I mean, the crowd reacts to it. They found a whole bunch of shots of little kids doing the 10 sign. So he's supposed to be a fun character, and he is. So again, SmackDown's building new talent, and it's very different than it was just a month ago. And to me, that's exciting. That's something fun.
Yeah, definitely. So overall, I really enjoyed this show. I know, like we said in the beginning, that it was good. It was action packed. What do you think going into the next coming weeks?
For SmackDown, at least, I'm looking forward to it. I would hopefully next week we get some type of Nakamura. I don't know what they're going to do with Jericho, because is he gone, or is he going to get to at least say goodbye? Maybe right now on the network they're doing something on Talking Smack. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to SmackDown, and I usually am. SmackDown's pretty much has always been a good 2-hour show. Raw's got that extra hour that makes it difficult to get through, and SmackDown benefits by only being 2 hours.
Yeah, and Raw had a lot going on this week, and we apologize, Misfits, for not doing a review of Raw this week. We just were not able to. But yeah, Raw had a lot going on yesterday. So for me, it was actually kind of a breather to come into like a 2-hour SmackDown with like a lot less going on, where it was just not quite as overwhelming.
I definitely understand that. Raw, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just there's too much going on where everything can't be important on a 3-hour show. So unfortunately, some things just mean less.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
So all right, Misfits, we hope you enjoyed this review of WWE Smackdown. If you did, please hit that like button. If you want more wrestling content, video content, we're doing a lot with the channel. Please hit subscribe. Make sure you get those notifications so you'll see when the videos come up right away. And we want to hear your thoughts. We're getting comments back. Again, you guys like emailing us, but I want to see some YouTube comments. So please try leaving a comment once in a while.
Leave us a comment, and thanks for joining us. Have a great night, Misfits.